Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Monday, March 28, 2022. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Clifton HICKEN appointed acting police commissioner. GRA strengthening policies against auto dealers, manipulating system to buy seized cars. CRABWOOD Creek residents protest for IMC to replace NDC. Health Ministry seeks permission for land to construct modern hospital in Region 5. And second woman ordained as priest in the Anglican Church in Guyana. Now for the news in detail. With current Acting Commissioner of Police Nigel Hoppy proceeding on pre-retirement leave, Clifton HICKEN has now taken up the post at the helm of the Guyana Police Force, also in an acting capacity. HICKEN, who has been functioning as Deputy Commissioner of Operations, is known for his dynamic style of management. HICKEN was also quite popular during his reign as commander of A and B divisions and as such had tremendous public support. This change in the hierarchy of the force took effect March 27, 2022. We now tell you that effective 14 hours today, Sol Guyana has slashed gas prices at all 9 of its service stations across the country to $229 for fuel save and $237 for V-Power per liter. This was confirmed by General Manager Earl Caribon during a telephone interview with this newscast. Caribon explained that the company had to wait until tax stocks were depleted before changes could be made to prices at the pumps. Vice President Barajagdio had on Wednesday last announced that the excise tax on the importation of fuel would be reduced to zero with immediate effect, in a move intended to ease the burden of the global rise in cost of living being experienced by locals. At the time, the state-owned Guy Oil was retailing gas at $245 per liter, Shell at $246 and $249 per liter, and Rubis at $244 per liter. Diesel was being sold at $248 per liter at Rubis, $249 per liter at Shell, and $255 per liter at Guy Oil. Guy Oil is now retailing gas at $225 per liter, while Rubis is retailing gas at $244 per liter. Gerald Bryan joins us now to report that the process of disposing of vehicles seized by the Guyana Revenue Authority for want of entry is one fraught with a number of challenges, including auto dealers trying to circumvent the system to purchase cars at below market prices. Here are the details.
These matters were addressed on Monday when GRA Commissioner General Godfrey Stacia and staff came before the Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly. According to GRA Comptroller Rohan Beku, they have had to come up with ways of handling dealers who skirt the system to purchase seized vehicles below market prices for resale.
We do look at any flexibility to be given to those importers of clearance would be done during that process. When that vehicle is gazetted and they do make that representation, it is at that point. After that, now the thing with dealers, it's twofold. So what the dealers had been doing, they were looking to get the vehicles and bid cheaper as much as possible. Now when we cut that out, the dealers resort to another thing. They put people to bid high on these vehicles. So when they bid high on those vehicles would have been left at the wharf so that they can get their sale and then so on. So we end up stuck with these vehicles, hence the whole set of things end up rotting and all of that. So the dealers actually trying a twofold smartness on us. So we had to adjust our policies and so on accordingly. Right, but we do, with the importers and so on, if any flexibility is allowed when they make the representation before the process is over.
Meanwhile, Stacia also defended against findings of the Auditor General that want-of-entry vehicles were donated to other agencies or even removed from the auction lineup, resulting in lost revenue.
There are many persons who bring vehicles in and they do not clear it on a timely basis. As soon as those vehicles now are advertised, those persons who would have brought it in, they write a letter and say, look, you know what, I'm sorry, we're late, I'm going to pay the want of entry charges and the taxes. Upon that request...
After it is gazetted?
Yes, sir. Because you do not want to seize people's vehicles unnecessarily, notwithstanding if the law says so. Because if they are going to pay the taxes, on many instances, vehicles are sold for less than the taxes that would be due. So if the taxpayer decides or the importer decides to pay the tax and to pay the want of entry charges, writes a letter requesting that it be removed from the want of entry list, I approve it. The water entry process, as a matter of fact, it is so burdensome and cumbersome. Sometimes I wonder, why do we have to go through it all the time?
As many as 194 bids were received for 36 of these vehicles. However, the AG had found that the removal of 9 vehicles resulted in millions of dollars in losses. However, Stacia requested a breakdown of the $14 million quoted by the AG. Meanwhile, the issue of trade plates, which are temporary licenses used on new vehicles until it is registered, also came up. According to PAC member Juan Edgel, he routinely sees vehicles sporting trade plates being used. However, Stacia took pains to distance his agency from the use of these plates and suggested that the police clamp down on these vehicles.
Until we regularize, trade plates, and until we regularize a proper system of vehicle registration, we are going to have this problem all the time. If for any reason, the police, if you call the police, the police could lock them up. But what we have found also, and that is a breach of the license revenue rules. What we have found, and that is where we change the entire warehousing of vehicles now, and importers, they have to pay the tax up front. So when they are driving it all around the place, the taxes would have already been paid up front. It is for the police recognizing under the Road Traffic Act that these things are being abused and should not be on the road at these particular times.
Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Citing failure on the part of officials, residents of Crabwood Creek, Region 6, are calling for an interim management committee to replace the Crabwood Creek Molson Neighborhood Democratic Council. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports that the residents staged a protest exercise in front of the NDC office today, calling for central government to intervene. Here's a look.
Between November and December 2020, residents of Crabwood Creek picketed the NDC calling for the removal of the then NDC chairman, Tiro Arjun, along with the overseer. Weeks later, Will Kamani Dilchan was elected as the new chairman. This is not the first time those residents have taken such protest actions. Back in March 2007, a similar exercise was held for the removal of the then chairman. It was again done in 2017. Today, the residents are saying that they want an interim management committee to replace the NDC, as they are not satisfied with the services they are receiving from the NDC.
Right? It's a land request in 2011. We asked the overseer to move this, transfer him. You don't have to knock him off. Transfer him. We are not serving the people to the high capacity. Right? So we need a transfer for them. The time is overdue for the chairman. Right? Before we get Valmiki for chairman, we need back Tirbabandat Arjun, who have even taken out already, because he doing a better job than Valmiki doing. Right? For an interim body, not for the food, because local government election due already since last year.
And since from the Nari promised us a lot of things to come and develop, forgive the Crab Creek farm, and nothing ever come here yet. So we call him for the president who knows that what happened in the Crab Creek, because the Minister of Agriculture coming here, promising the people everything, and when he goes, nothing. Mr. R. Morgan come here, promise the people and never deliver nothing.
You said that you were promised something from the regional chairman. Could you tell me
what? So when the regional chairman they come here, he promised to see the hamper get to everybody. And there's no hamper this Crab Creek people never get since the flood. Nobody never received anything.
We look for that now.
No, we're looking because a lot of poor people here need hampers. We got people from all walks in this country. They here work with farmers and they need things. And not a hamper they could receive until today from this government.
You said Nari promised you all some things. What they promised you?
Nari come up here before the big flood, when we had 23-day rain and 23-day night rain. He did not. They come here and take on all names from all people, but did not promise the people to bring no relief to them. Nothing. Lately they call it and they gave it 12 pound manure. Her bag melt. 12 pound manure this government gave to the Crab Creek people who are farming for 43 and 38 years. To rent 12 pounds of manure, 2 bags each, 12 pounds, 24 pounds.
These residents say floodwaters have been causing damage to their farms every rainy season. They say there is need for another sluice to drain the 8,000 acres of farmland, noting that when they were doing less farming, there were more operable sluices.
I am very disappointed with the promises. For the past 35 years, we are flooding out and lose our crop. Asking all the government, the PNC, the PPP and PNC again and PPP come back in power, and them always claims that there is no money. Guyana passed the biggest budget, $553 billion, and there is, I don't know if any funds available to give us our cocoa more, because in early age, probably 4,000 acre land been drained by 3 sluices. And now I begin 8,000, nearly 8,100 acres of land, and I only drain with 2 sluices. We need an additional sluice so we can save our crop. Provision, within 24 hours, provision all these urban water lodgings.
The residents say they will continue to hold their protest until their demands are met. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Aubrey Norton, has launched an attack on the integrity of Chairwoman of the Guyana Elections Commission, GCOM, retired Justice Claudette Singh, and called for her to be removed. Find out more in this report.
PNC leader Aubrey Norton, during his first address to the party's Statutory General Council on Saturday at Congress Place, told party members that he recently met with the United States Deputy Assistant Secretary for Caribbean Affairs and Haiti, Barbara Feinstein, who was in Guyana on a 3-day visit. During that meeting, he explained that a host of issues were raised, including having an independent elections commission. The PNCR leader went on to accuse the GCOM chair, Justice retired Claudette Singh, of being partisan and voting alongside the People's Progressive Party commissioners on every occasion.
We raised with them the fact that yes, we have 3 government, yes, we have 3 opposition, but that the chairman is supposed to be independent. And what we are saying is that the chairman of the Elections Commission is not independent. We have noted that she conspired with them to break the rules, to make a chief elections officer who isn't qualified for the job. And so she is partisan. And so our mantra must be 2. Our mantra must be 2. A clean voters list, and Claudette Singh must go.
In addition to Justice Singh as its chair, GCOM comprises of 3 government-nominated commissioners, says Conraj, Bibi Shadiq, and Manoj Narayan, while the opposition-nominated commissioners are Vincent Alexander, Charles Corbin, and Desmond Trotman. Only Friday last, Vice President Barrett Jagdeo, who also met with the Deputy Assistant Secretary, told reporters at a press conference that the PPP would be cautious in changing the current 331 formula on the 7-member Elections Commission, given the events that played out at the March 2020 general and regional elections.
Coming up, fewer persons showing up for testing vaccines after removal of COVID restrictions, and 3 killed in separate accidents on East Bank, East Coast, and West Coast Demerara. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Hello, my fellow TikToker followers. He is Credit, and today all we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and spice cake. For the noodles, all of these will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, five spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you want to know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, jerk seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
fry, boiling high, we serve with Pepe's barbecue sauce. Radical went to the supermarket and she proper buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. He shaped like a Guyana map.
Pepe's has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Pepe's, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
You taste the cheese, you hear the crunch. Grab a zoomers and zoom into fun. And with the first taste, you feel like you don't want it done. Blast off to a whole new place with every single bite. The cheesy goodness bring your taste buds alive. So let's just zoom into fun with this wheel-shaped light. Zoomers, zoomers, zoom into fun.
It happens. Your septic tank is full. All the waste from your toilet goes into your septic tank through the sewage line. When your tank is full, the two most common indicators are an overflowing tank and an overflowing toilet. It is recommended that Sevon's Waste Management empty your septic tank every 2 to 3 years to avoid any embarrassment. And before you can say, shh, it's gone. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455 or 218-1156.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rijnveld.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. Guyana has seen another day without a COVID-related fatality, with authorities recording only one new case within the last 24 hours. The total positives detected to date is 63,235, while the death toll remains at 1,226. There are 2 persons in the ICU, 6 in institutional isolation, and 74 in home isolation. Recovery stand at 61,927. Since the removal of the curfew and other national COVID-19 restrictions, Guyana is seeing a decline in the number of persons presenting themselves for testing and vaccination. Rupa Sinarain tells us more.
Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony outlined in Monday's coronavirus briefing that since the restrictions have been relaxed, persons have responded differently. In fact, he noted that persons coming for testing and vaccination have declined.
A lot of people now feel relieved that they don't have to comply with so many measures, and people are taking on, they have different ways of how they address the matter. So some people still maintain their mask, others have removed their mask and they're going about their normal business. We have, from the ministry point of view, we have seen a decline in people coming for testing. We have also noticed a decline in vaccination, and that can be a little bit problematic because we still need more people to be vaccinated.
He noted that first dose vaccination uptake across regions are relatively high, but second doses and booster shots needs to be improved.
This is something that we want to encourage people, that even with the lull that we have right now, that we should encourage persons to be vaccinated. Those who would have received their second dose to come back and get their booster doses. Without vaccines, they're going to have challenges and they can end up in the hospital.
He also gave a breakdown of the country's current vaccination statistics for adults and the 12 to 17 age group.
For first dose adults, we have administered to date 437,900 doses. That's approximately 85.4% of the adult population. And for second dose, we are now at 336,228 doses, or 65.5% of the adult population. Right now, on average, we have 34,271 first doses, and that's 47% of that age cohort 12 to 17 who would have received the first dose. And then for second dose, it's 24,938, or 34.2%.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony has written to the Region 5 Regional Democratic Council seeking permission for land owned by the administration to be transferred to his ministry for the construction of a modern regional hospital there. Andrew Carmichael reports.
The application for land acquisition dated February 2nd, 2022 and titled Health Sector Improvement Program reads, quote, "The Ministry of Health has commenced its plans to transform the health sector as part of its mandate to develop a world-class system that provides quality service to the people of Guyana. A major part of this project includes the building of 6 regional hospitals in various districts in Guyana. In this regard, I am seeking your approval for the transfer of land on the authority at Bat Settlement for the construction of one of those hospitals." End of quote. The letter was also copied to Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa. The land being sought is situated at Narstigide, West Coast, Berbice. The application was read to the Regional Democratic Council during its recent statutory meeting. Regional Chairman Vicchand Ramphal told the council that approximately 4 to 5 acres of land is being sought for the project. It is the same plot of land which was leased to farmers, and in March 2018, former Regional Executive Officer Ovid Morrison had bulldozed them off of it, claiming that he was going to establish a model farm. The High Court has since ruled that his actions were illegal and ordered that Morrison compensate the farmers several $million. Meanwhile, Regional Councillor Emerson Benjamin questioned whether systems will be put in place for those farmers who are currently occupying the land. According to the regional chairman, the RDC has not given approval for anyone to occupy the said portion of land. He explained that the land does not belong to the RDC, but the RDC has a lease from the Mahaika Myconia Bari Agricultural Development Authority, MMA ADA.
So since the minister has written to the Minister of Agriculture, it was copied to the regional chairman, and as such, it has been presented here this morning for a no objection from council, so we can fast track the process, and hopefully before, I will say in a few months, we can have works commence here, construction works.
Delon Crawford also made a recommendation for the hospital to be built at number 27 Village. His sentiments were echoed by Ishmael Mohammed. They argued that at number 27, the utility companies have already set up commercial offices, and it is one of the more visited communities in the region.
I have a problem with the ministry directing and instructing what is to be done in the region.
However, Regional Vice Chairman Ryan Peters noted that one of the utility companies is in the process of moving to the Fort Wellington area, and the area also has space for future expansion.
We would have deliberated quite a lot on the matter, and as I said earlier, the correspondence was presented to council for its no objection for this project. If is there, well, councillors would have raised their concerns, which were clarified, so I guess that there is no objection at the moment.
You just feel left out that you wasn't consulted.
And
it's
so,
not a letter.
permission will be given. The region will hand over or surrender that plot of land back to MMA, and necessary approval will be given for the green light for that project. Thank you very much.
To ensure that we continue to have improved healthcare service delivery to our people in Region 5. The building of a regional hospital.
Meanwhile, President Dr. Irfan Ali on Sunday assured farmers who cultivate land at Narstigide that the land they are utilizing will not be used for the hospital project. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Separate accidents along the east bank of Demerara, east coast of Demerara, and west coast of Demerara over the week claimed the lives of 3 persons, a 19-year-old, a 34-year-old, and a 66-year-old. Find out more in this report.
19-year-old Sachin Prasad of Diamond, East Bank, Demerara was on Saturday night struck down and ran over by 2 motor cars along the correct public road, resulting in his demise. The young man along with another individual were crossing the road when a speeding car crashed into the teenager, who stood frozen in the middle of the highway upon seeing the vehicle bolting towards him. Another vehicle, which was proceeding in the opposite direction, also ran over the young man's body. The teen's parents are calling for justice. His father explained that he was at work when he received news of the dreaded incident.
It's really infected the family. Not the family, me and the mother and the other children, much more than we expected. It ain't easy. It is terrible for know that a last child, I grow them up, punish and work, and me and my wife grow them up. Purchase the water now when he crossing back the road to go home where we live in. Get hit by one vehicle and run over by another vehicle. My wife and my son and other people and neighbors around go because I was at work at the time. And I couldn't left the site because it's in Providence and I was the only security on the site. And I would like if the commissioner of police or the crime chief or the traffic chief to have a look into this matter seriously. Now we're finding that this child get hit was on that car. And the police was there and it took about 2 hours to move him before they could take him to the hospital. I don't know if I'm going to get justice, but I'd rather justice, or if not, let it come to some compromise.
Also on Saturday evening, a 34-year-old policeman, Kwame Kelman of Vigilance, East Coast, Demerara, lost control of the vehicle he was driving and crashed into a shop along the Lusignan public road, resulting in his demise. Again, on Saturday night, 66-year-old Fiaz Hussein of Windsor Forest, West Coast, Demerara, died in an accident along the very Windsor Forest public road. The driver of the motor car that caused the accident alleged that the elderly man was walking on the parapet when he made a sudden turn onto the road and into the path of his vehicle, causing the collision to occur. The family is hoping that through the police's investigation, they will get closure to Hussein's death. Fiona Marson, The Evening News.
As the times evolve, women around the world continue to break barriers in all aspects of life that were once known to be male-dominated fields. One of these courageous women is Wendell Roberts, the second female to be ordained as a priest in the Anglican Church of Guyana. Here is Shane Marks with this story.
Gender roles continue to shift in a society that once thrived on male dominance. It is a clear sign that the world is taking major strides towards gender equality. Wendell Roberts, who grew up in the church, has now been ordained as a second female priest in the Anglican Church in Guyana.
I have grown up in the church, right? My early Christian education, I would say, started at the Salvation Army, but we were baptized Christian and Anglicans, and then when we, at about age 10, my sister was 12, my mother thought it was time for us to be confirmed, and so we moved on to Christ Church, where we had been baptized. So I was in the church, Sunday school, confirmation class, And then by the time I was age 14, I was in the choir, founder member of the ladies' choir, because in those days it was only men and boys who sang in the Anglican church choirs. So I was a pioneer there again. And so I remained in the church, and my next step was in the Mothers' Union. Yes, I joined the Mothers' Union in 1984 at Christ Church, and Mothers' Union ministers to Christian family life, marriage and family life. So there was more spiritual growth, more opportunity for leadership, and so on. And at that time, too, women were not ordained in the church, in the Anglican church. So it was only in 2016 when the Diocesan Synod passed a resolution for the ordination of women that I was able to think about it a little bit more seriously.
Roberts, who has been a deacon at the Anglican Church for the past year, was also an educator for more than 37 years, teaching at Guyana's top schools like the Bishop's High School and the prestigious Queen's College.
I have been a deacon for a year and 3 months. I was ordained in December 2020. Yeah. Actually, I should have been ordained this very date, the 25th of March 2020. But then the pandemic came and it had to be postponed so that it took place in December. I taught for 37 plus years. Yes, I was a teacher. Science. Taught at the Bishop's High School and then at Queen's College. Right. Taught from the first form right up to the upper sixth form.
Roberts related that church leadership is very much prevalent in her family.
Well, I've had family members who are pastors in the other churches, Assemblies of God, and I have a young cousin right now who was just appointed an assistant pastor in her own church. So it has been a church family, and everybody's happy to say, well, okay, we have another pastor in the church. Yes, I've had cousins who were pastors.
Though as the second woman to be ordained as a priest, Roberts explained that members of the church are yet to come to terms with a woman being ordained as a priest.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey for the church. And there might still be some people who would say, I don't want a woman to work alongside me and that kind of thing. And there might be some congregations that might be feeling the same way. But I think that is changing. Because what is there to prevent a woman from serving God in the highest capacity in his church?
Roberts was ordained on Friday last at the Anglican Church as the second female priest. Shane Marks, The Evening News.
Guyana tramples Barbados in international friendly, and West Indies secures series win over England. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
With unlimited games to choose from, you can be a winner with Superbet. Choose from our virtual sports, live betting, sports betting, live roulette, and much, much more. Place your bets at www.superbet.gy or visit any one of our agents. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 18 and over. Play responsibly.
John Lewis Styles introduces Eddie Domani, Vertical Sport, and Alberto Cardinale, a line of very affordable men's clothing, especially suited for the workplace. Get polos from $2,800, dress shirts from $3,995, shirt jacks from $5,500, and even jeans and dress pants from $5,995. We can supply large companies with special sizes and colors upon request. Come visit us on Waterloo Street and ask for a quotation. Umbrellas, computer bags, footwear, and women's workwear are also available. John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Wash bay operators, are you looking for that unique service to elevate your business? Well, come on down to your #1 industrial store, Sylvie's, and invest in an undercarriage pressure washer tool. That's right, impress your customers by now washing under their vehicles easy and efficiently with an undercarriage tool. We have in stock different types that offer a wider range of services and can increase your revenue without having to invest in expensive ramps. Your customers are going to leave satisfied. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High in Hatfield Streets location, we can deliver in and around Georgetown. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvie's Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Ultra Lubricants, the leading lubricants for tropical conditions, has been serving you for over 40 years, extending the life cycle of your vehicle's engine by protecting it from wear and corrosion, removes impurities, and reducing frequent vehicle oil changes. Ultra Lubricants is for every market, from two-wheel light vehicle to trucks, construction, agriculture equipment, mining activities, and boating. Ultra Lubricants, world-class lubricants for tropical conditions. Distributed by Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc. and available nationwide.